Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. I'm freaking out, okay? I'll tell you why. First off, it's Christmas. Merry Christmas. You can tell I couldn't have hit it. It's the hat and everything. Goes to Mega Satan. We start with the quarter. Come on, Nicholas. Christmas isn't about fiduciary means like a financial instrument that represents $0.25 FDIC insured. We came for the bank's money, not yours sort of situation. But anyway, I'm happy to have it. And I'm running the mental math now, and I'm like, dude, I was definitely, not bad. I was definitely doing dailies at American Thanksgiving, because I remember missing a daily or two because I was away at my in-laws' place for American Thanksgiving. So it's been more than a month. Where is my achievement? I know we missed a few days, but we must be like, for real, knocking on the door. How much of a Christmas gift would that be? Anyway, that's why you got me. That's why I'm all shook up here, because I'm like, dude, it's been definitely at least a month. It might also be at most a month. I haven't decided yet. We'll figure it out for ourselves momentarily. Hold on. Not an XL floor. I don't really want to... maybe I'll get one reroll. Poke Go for 7 cents is not too bad. I'll give you one more. Maybe we'll just throw one more at the wall here and see what sticks. You know, it sounds busted, but I'm going to take Piggy Bank. Because I don't think it's particularly great... But it might pay for itself in daily point standards. You get the idea. And you might not be, I don't know, because this episode is probably going to go live like December 30th or December 31st or something like that. And why are you working on Christmas? Well, 2 reasons. Well, it's like everything in human behavior, you know? It's actually not 2 reasons. There might be 2 reasons at the forefront. But beneath that is a complicated web of, there's got to be 2 a day, anxiety over a career where nothing is guaranteed, and then also, the 2 big reasons at the front are, first off, is like 9:30 a.m. I got nothing else to do, and it's a Tuesday. I don't know. I've already had my coffee. I read all the happy holidays messages. Let's go. And I got nothing to do until Kate wakes up, basically. Nothing to do except, pet Tomo over here, which I've already done a substantial amount of. Secondarily, as an adult, Christmas, a little bit more about spending time with your family. I think that goes for most holidays. I thought you were going to explode. Let me think. This run is really, really great so far, but that doesn't mean it's not worth, giving it the old college try here. Anyway, and then the other reason was my family's not coming till Friday. So if I work on Tuesday, I can have more time on Friday. And who says, I gotta have December 25th, the birthday of our Lord and Savior Elias Pettersson, as the day to celebrate. Maybe I could celebrate on... Did I say July 25th? I hope I said December 25th. Christmas isn't in July. That's Christmas with the cranks talking. I should not be in this room. I was struck with the realization that I was like, I'm risking the whole daily just to play a blood bank. And I don't know if I'd really recommend that. Thinking long-term or short-term for that matter. Never mind. Thank you for the spirit heart. All is forgiven. Will we re-roll this whole run? I have not yet decided. I think we'll go to the deal with the devil first. I don't know. Excuse me, get out of there. I'm sorry. I tried. I really did. Also, it feels nice, and don't take this the wrong way. You're going to think that this is a besmirching of my familial relationships. It's not. But yesterday was Christmas Eve. It was a Monday. We drove down to our in-laws' place. And again, it's so unbelievably flattering that literally, well, I think here's what it is, okay? Our nieces love us. But it's because being like an aunt or an uncle to, you know, a couple of, not toddlers, I don't know, a child and a toddler, 2 children, it's like the easiest job in the world. You know, I mean, I imagine it's not if the parents don't have it together, but the parents have it together. So we just show up, and then their parents or the kids are like, let's play tag, and we're like, I don't really want to, and they're like, we're playing tag, and we're like, okay. So we play tag for like 15 minutes, and then I'm like, my heart's gonna explode. And then, you know, they're like, show me a magic trick, you know? So I got this old magic trick. It's the simplest magic trick in the world. All you do is you riff through the cards, and you go, tell me when to stop. And then they say stop, and you just force the top card on them. And then every single time that you do it, you just give them the same card. You put on like a weird mind reader act. You go like, well, I'm picturing in my head that you have, it's not a black card, it's a red card, and it's got like a lot of symbols on it. The symbols are really sharp. It's like I think it's like the 8 of diamonds. And like the whole time, I mean, this part's just a MacGuffin, you know? You already know it's the 8 of diamonds because you peeked at the card before you forced it. But, you can see them being like, what the heck? Our uncle is magic. But it's just because, you know, being an uncle, you don't have to do any of the hard job of parenting. Well, we'll take the money from Pageant Boy. We definitely do want to, and I think actually we won't take the money from Pageant Boy, because check this out. We got no keys. I think this run is good, but in the interest of making the, not just Zane, but also, you know, opening up all the other stuff that we have access to, we should open this, and then do this. Okay, there's a key. Irrelevant. Give me a moment. We re-rolled the chest back here into Isaac's head. Not very good at all. No! Anyway, what I was saying is, it's nice to be talking to an adult, aka myself. Don't get me wrong, you know. Oh, we'll just take the tears upgrade. We don't have time. I like spending time with my nieces, and you know, again, it's just the most. It's like, and again, this is gonna sound like an insult to their intelligence. It's not. They're like 4 and 7 years old, respectively. But it's like having like a sentient pet to some extent. You're like, I'm doing nothing, and this person thinks I'm like the most fun person in the world. So I'm back to the land of reasonable expectations, where people are like, hey, hit me with one of those anecdotes, funny man. Okay, I'll try. 1 second. I had the, you know, we were there at our in-laws for a Christmas sort of, I don't know, get-together thing. We were there on Christmas Eve, because, don't take this the wrong way. Kate and I have our own plans on Christmas, you know? It's nice to be, you know, young and childless in the big city. I know that sounds like a horror novel from the 1970s, but, like, it's the way I prefer to spend my days. At least for the time being. So we went there for Christmas Eve. And I think we'll grab this. I mean, it is fitting, right? We're doing our own Christmas stuff today, but we had a nightmare. You may have mentioned that or you may remember, is what I mean to say there, that I've mentioned that we purchased this Sonicare toothbrush, the electric toothbrush, making the rounds as one of the hottest holiday gifts for people of a certain age, aka my age. I don't know if... Why am I trying to get close to shoot you when I have piercing shots? Either way, the reason we bought it is because we were at, you know, their house a month ago for Thanksgiving. And now the sinister elements of the plan all fall into place, right? My sister-in-law, who is a dentist, was like, hey, you guys should get a Sonicare. It's amazing. You know, the difference between my patients who use a Sonicare and my patients who don't is incredible. Like, it's one of the best things you can buy if you care about your dental health. So we go home. I don't know, she might not be used to dealing with people, you know, who are as decisive as we are, I guess. Because, you know, when we get home and we're like, hey, a dentist told us to get a Sonicare. We're getting that Sonicare. Lo and behold, we open up the gift. Fine. We open up the gift from my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. What is it? 2 Sonicaires. Of course. And then, you know, they were like, do you have one already? And nothing in my upbringing has prepared me for this moment. So Kate went, yeah. And I went, is good though. As if there's like something that we could conceivably do with 4 toothbrushes that we couldn't do with 2. I mean, nobody's offended. Nobody's like, I want a new gift because we already have the gift you got us. But we're more just like, you know, well, it's unfortunate. All right, move on with our lives, I suppose. And I don't know, we got him as a backup. She was like, you could return him to Costco. And I'm like, we live in a different country. Plus, that just feels like are we really gonna be those people where a dentist gives us a toothbrush for Christmas and we're like, I don't want it. I'd rather have a 3-kilogram bag of charcoal briquettes. I don't even know, what do you buy at Costco except for footlong hot dogs, incredibly cheap fountain drinks, and surprisingly authentic poutine? I don't know the answer to that question. We also, I don't know if I mentioned this. I genuinely can't recall. Hold on, let's grab the cracked dice shard. This run is fine, and it, you know, it's got a ways to go to get really good, but I think it can get there, especially given that we're likely to get a deal with the devil on this floor. We should be okay. But like, we got our nieces like a bunch of stuff for Christmas. And some of the stuff that we got was like, what? What is this room? Okay, so here's how you do this one, okay? Check this out. You go real deep on this one. Grab the mystery gift. Use it. We could have re-rolled it. I'm glad we didn't. Then you dice shard. We get the goat head for free. We don't need the money yet, so just be cool. We got Algiz and Yera. Let's Yera right away. And then we'll just take everything that we got here. So did this end up being worth it? I mean, I would say that, yeah, it probably ended up being worth it. We didn't spend a whole heck of a lot of time. We got quite a lot of value. Not to mention, we basically doubled our damage, and we also got goat head. That's kind of the luck of the draw, but, you know, so is everything in this game to some extent. So that went very, very well, in my opinion. So the stuff that was suggested by their mom and dad, they were like, it's cool. Like, they're very polite. They weren't like, where's my Dragon Ball Z, you know, beach towel? They were like, thank you, of course. But we also just got a bunch of miscellaneous stuff, and I got to admit, you know, part of being an adult is admitting when you were incorrect. We were at, of all places, our local grocery store, and there was a bunch of, like, just cheap-looking kids' toys on sale. I don't know any of this stuff, you know, Hatchimals I'm vaguely familiar with because of the fact that, you know, they were such a hit on Thanksgiving, but, like, Shopkins? I got no idea what Shopkins is. Are you talking about Anthony Shopkins? Well, hello, Clarice. That's what you call him after he cashes that Westworld bonus. I don't know, you talking about Johns Shopkins University? The current Jeopardy champion went there. Hopefully he's still the Jeopardy champion. I mean, by the time this episode of mine airs. I feel like a kindred spirit with Jeopardy, by the way. I realized that yesterday was Christmas Eve. They still had a brand new episode. You know why? They filmed it November 7th. Don't ever lecture me about the backlog ever again. They got contestants saying Merry Christmas at the start of November. Just to make sure that they can keep the lights on. Anyway, where was I going with this? Wouldn't you know it? And all this stuff, by the way, was discounted. It was like originally 30 bucks. Nobody wants it. Here it's $5 or best offer. So we bought a bunch of that stuff, and I was like, Kate, we can't give our nieces all this stuff. Like, we're not tuned in with the, you know, psychology and sociology of, like, little kids. This might be last year's toys that are garbage now. Wouldn't you know it? They're like, oh my god, Shopkins. I don't even know what it is. It's like a weird gumball machine that's also a house. I'm like, it's literally 45 cents worth of plastic. It rules. Oh, we don't even get the key piece. Even though we already have it, I was like, we can at least get it. Cambion Conception, sure, like, I'm for it. As long as we can get a blood bank, maybe, at some point. This is, we're going to have to make a choice soon, because we are slightly behind schedule, but I thought with the existence of Cricket's Head, we're going to start to speed it up a little bit, but I definitely still want to go to item room, shop, etc., etc. We got to be careful, though. My scores on the daily have not been so good lately. My performances have been fine. You know, the scores, I'm not salty about it, but the scores can be a little arbitrary. You know, did you find blank card? No? Well, sorry. Mediocre score. Damage penalty has been a problem as well, admittedly. We can't do anything with booger tears, unfortunately. Anyway, the other, like, prevailing thing from this visit, hold on, I got coffee left, is that, you know, my oldest niece is at that age now where she wants to be a YouTuber. And, you know, bless their heart, and also bless the heart of my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. They don't know, like, what kind of YouTuber I am. And that's not to say I'm like what I do is shameful or anything like that. But, you know, their experience with YouTube, they're like 3 or 4 years older than me, which is, you know, old enough to not be as likely to be tuned into the YouTube sphere. I think you could probably agree. So all their experience with YouTube is like Ryan's Toy Reviews and like other channels that are basically just, I mean, it's highly edited content that's kid safe and friendly. And they're like, so what's your advice for becoming a YouTuber? Like, if we wanted to start a YouTube channel for like our 8-year-old, what would we do? And, you know, at first I'm like, well, my first piece of advice is don't. And they're like, okay, but really? And I'm like, yeah, I know, but like, really? But, you know, they keep asking me for advice that is not relevant. And I think, you know, whatever success I have on this platform, I'm not going to say it's non-repeatable, but it requires you to be, you know, to have different expectations. Like, I can't legitimately say to my in-laws, like, oh yeah, why don't you just have your 8-year-old spend like 5 or 6 hours a day recording videos of the exact same video game, talking about life experiences, anecdotes, and potentially like just truly awful opinions. You know, she doesn't have that breadth of experience yet to keep it going for, you know, 10 episodes, much less 100. You know, their perception is that I'm one of these channels like Dude Perfect or something like that, where I do like bottle flipping challenges that get 10 million views. But it ain't like that. And you and I both know it. So first off, I don't have any like good advice for it to begin with, unfortunately. And secondarily, I'm like, I don't know, do you really want your... I mean, I guess you do want your 8-year-old running a YouTube channel if it becomes incredibly successful. I mean, you run it for them, obviously, but you get what I mean. But it's weird because I'm coming face to face. It's like the second part of a Dostoevsky novel. Like, I'm face to face with the generation that I've helped create and shape, and now they're like, I want to do your job. And I'm like, ah. I mean, it's not that it's like a job that is... Like, I always tell it like it is. It's not a hard job. At least it isn't a hard job for me. I don't know if I'm uniquely talented or if I just am broken in all the right ways to make this platform easy enough. Where if somebody goes like, hey, you're stupid, I'm like, hey, don't say that, but yeah, you're right. Sort of. Yo, we gotta speed up, but I can't say no to Eden's blessing. And then, you know... she's getting old enough. They were like, is Uncle Ryan famous? And I was like, not really. But then everyone laughed, and she took that to mean like, yes. And I'm like, no, like really, not really. But simultaneously, I am going to bill you for my time. And because we were playing tag, I'm billing at time and a half. Because Uncle Ryan lives a very sedentary lifestyle lately. And every time I'm down here, it reminds me that if I care about my own mortality, she'd probably get up and move a little bit more. But anyway, she was like, I want to be famous. And I was like, it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's you know, she's getting to the age where you can actually have like a human conversation with her. But I mean, I understand, you know, if you're like, I mean, if you're 28, why wouldn't you want to be a YouTuber? Work from home, make your own hours, you know, along with the stuff that, if you actually care about being famous, you can become famous on YouTube. I'm not going to explain to a 7-year-old kid. And I know you're like, is she 7 or is she 8? Here's the answer, okay? I don't know. I'm not her mom. What I should learn is not her age, but her birth year, so that I can reverse engineer her age and never have to actually know it. Now that's the smart problem-solving way to handle this issue. We are going to do boss rush. You know, am I willing to? No, I am going to go to the boss fight right away. I don't think we have a super quick fight, so let's do it. Don't take this... I know I say all the time that I'm like a self-hating YouTuber. I am and I'm not. You know, there's amazing people on this platform. People that are 10 times smarter than me. Just because there are people that are successful that have no respect for the fact that they're like an influence. Not an influencer. Two different things. But, you know, that doesn't actually... It doesn't bother me that much, believe it or not. Well, I think we will not take 9 lives. And you're not going to hear me say that too often. And we will take the soul here. Why would you do that when you could get items on the next floor? I don't know. I think because I used the mystery box earlier, I was like, this'll work. Anyway, we do still want to fight Hush as well, so we want to get through this ASAP. By the way, we're not in a bad spot. It's just because of some of the tactics that we used were a little slower than I'd like to be. We were also having conversations that, I don't know, I think other YouTubers, I don't know if they would be offended by it. But I'm just gonna, I'm assuming this is one of the reasons you're watching, is that I like, you know, I say what I really believe, and then I open myself up to being told I'm wrong. And please, if you disagree, please tell me. But, you know, my sister-in-law was like, you know, they have this YouTube Kids app where they can only watch stuff that's been... And I think it's a good thing, by the way. Like, I've seen one side of the quote-unquote adpocalypse where, you know, every video gets monitored, and if it is determined by machine learning or quote-unquote a human being manually reviewing it, yeah, right, then it's, you know, it's put in a different pool that's like, you know, limited advertising and kids can't watch it. And it sucks from my side, of course, you know, but I think it's good that, you know, as a parent, you can just pop up this YouTube Kids app. And I know that the obvious counter argument there is like, well, you should just pay attention to what your kids are doing. You know, like your parents didn't pay attention to what you were doing at all times. Sometimes they were like, Mom needs some me time. They sat you in front of the TV. It's not every day you got home from school and they were like, we're going to make some, you know, bespoke reindeer Christmas ornaments out of clothespins, you know? Every parent needs a little break sometimes, I'm sure. But anyway, you know, both Cade and I were like, yo, you should download Netflix, because you already have it for yourself, and just let them use Netflix Kids. I'm not trying to crap on YouTube at all, but... I worry sometimes, because I watched a couple of these videos with my niece, and it's not quite like Spider-Man and Elsa levels of inanity, but it's like pretty bad. And I'm not saying they need to be watching, you know, Battleship Potemkin or something like that, but I do, and I'm being real with you, I sometimes worry that, like, you know, YouTube content could have an adverse effect on, like, kids' attention spans. I worry they could have an adverse effect on adults' attention spans. I don't really worry about it so much with my content, because, I mean, if you've watched the same grown man play the same game 1,000 times or more, like, your attention span, it has to be amazing. You have to be able to tolerate mundanity to a level that is... quite frankly impressive, because that's what a lot of adult life is. It's not having an existential crisis every time you're like, I'm bored for 10 seconds. So, but like, I have this concern. I was talking to Kate about it, and then she was talking to her sister about it. Where I'm like, you know, I think if you're monitoring what your kid's watching on YouTube, it's fine. But I don't know if I'd like to see a kid spending like 3 hours a day watching 5-minute YouTube videos that are like all jump cuts, no downtime, you know? As an adult, whatever, you can choose what you want to watch. But as a kid, like, at least in Netflix, you know, even if the shows are like The Boss Baby 2.0 or whatever the heck it's called, there's like a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end, there's like emotional conflict, there's a climax and a denouement. You know, you get the idea. It's a story. On YouTube, sometimes it's just like, is a non-stop highlight reel, you know? It's like a Warren Ellis film. Wait, who's the guy? He did all the snowboard movies? It's like a Warren Ellis film, but, you know, for memes. It's like all... And I watch this stuff, well, sometimes it gets suggested by the algorithm, so I have to watch it in praise of our Lord and Savior algorithm. But it's like, you know, Vine compilations or something like that. You know, if and maybe I'm being 500 years old. These kids with their cell phones, nobody reads a dang old newspaper anymore. But I am kind of like, you know, even if you're like 13, I don't really care what you watch on YouTube. I just worry about, like, you know, a toddler who has grown up and this has been like the style of content that they've been consuming for their whole lives. Now, no kids content really, especially if you're like 3 or 4 years old, is really that intellectually stimulating for an adult, but that's not really what I'm getting at. I just, you know, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm trying to solicit from other parents or people who have gone through it, or even people that just have like a philosophy and a thought about it. Like, you know, what do you think? I would definitely, like, for example, I would let my kid watch Mathis's videos, because if they can sit through like a whole Mathis video, they're set for life. I'm just joking, but it is hilarious. Ooh, give me some Lusty Blood. Love you, Mathis. Let's, once the holidays are over, let's play some more Hitman. Maybe they'll add a new map to Ghost Mode. Probably not, but hey, it'll be enough time since Miami that maybe we can visit. Plus, Miami in December. What could be greater? But I do sort of think about, and I think about it because I've been reading a lot, as I mentioned. For those following NL's book club, you know, I finished Notes from Underground, like, maybe like 6 days ago, 5 or 6 days ago, and I just finished The Handmaid's Tale. Wonderful book. One of those books where I was like, I should have read this. I should have read it in high school, probably. It's not like an advanced read. Like Notes from Underground, I don't know. You should read that if you're 21 or 121. I think those are the moments when it's going to strike you the most. It's still great, don't get me wrong. But even halfway through the book, I was like, I need a dictionary. And I've got a vocabulary on me. That's one of the rare things I get complimented on. It's that in the shape of my head. Do we care about the shovel? We do care about the shovel if we have no other options. Get me out of here, because we do have to fight Hush still. But yeah, I for me personally, you know, if I'm going on that hard 5-star rating system, I would give The Handmaid's Tale a 5. Not just because it's Canadian, but that's a huge part of it. Stars Hierophant. We'll definitely use Hierophant. But, like, this is back to the attention span thing. You know, I spent, like, my young adult years just browsing the internet. And I'm sure you can relate. I still do it from time to time. You know, you just go on the internet, you go to Reddit, and then one of the top posts is, you know, just for an example, you know, this isn't even a real world example, but it's an example I could pull from today if I were like 8 years younger. Top post on our movies is the new trailer for Jordan Peele's new movie, Us. So then you go, oh, Jordan Peele, so he did Get Out, and of course he won the Oscar for that. So what Oscar was it? Oh, Best Original Screenplay. Okay, so let's just go mindlessly on the Wikipedia article, scroll through the last, I don't know, 80 or 90 winners of Best Original Screenplay. And then, oh, The Apartment, 1960. It won Best Picture. It's the last black and white film before The Artist to win Best Picture. Wow, it's cool. And then before you know it, like an hour has passed. You've learned 3 new things, but nothing that's practical. Just like, you know, useless pieces of trivia that will only help you if you end up being on America's favorite primetime quiz show, Jeopardy. Either way, you know, now when I, even still, I'm getting better at it, but when I read a book, sometimes after like half a page of not a whole lot of dramatic stuff happening, I'll find my mind wandering, and I'll be like, no, we're doing this. We're reading this whole page, we're reading every word on the page, and we're going to think about what it means. This one is tough. I think we go dry, baby. You know what's cool about this daily? At least if you re-rolled it and took there's options or more options. There's a lot of tough decisions on today's daily. When it comes to item rooms. You know, do you walk on the spikes to get the better item? Or do you take the slightly worse item, but not really bad? And I actually think we probably don't want to fight Hush as of right now. You know, you just got to look at it from an honest perspective. We've been pretty close to the wire as well. Anyway, I'm just saying. And maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe just the fact that I'm bringing it up is indicative of the fact that I've become a little bit out of touch. Because, you know, if you're 16 years old, are you really like, oh, you know what I'm worried about in the future? My attention span. Probably not, right? But it's things I think about. And I think about them more because of the fact that this is my line of work. So we will take both here. And because we're able to take both, now it definitely feels like... And I forget the shovel, you know? You know why I forget the shovel? Because we can use the void to maybe get a stat increase here or better spacebar items on the Hush floor. But, you know, I think about it because I'm in this line of work. That's a statable option, I think. And we definitely want this. I think we want to see the card. Okay. I think we want to see the pill. Yo, let's go. Let's crack into these. Maybe we would have been Guppy. I don't know if we started with a Guppy item after our reroll. I'm not totally sure. Well, the thing is, we could take 2 syringes. And then we might get spun. But I think I would honestly rather, you know, suck these up. And we got luck out of that, basically. And also Butterbean, but who cares. And we'll suck these up. I think we got speed and shot speed and range. Incredible. Well, either way. We have upped our damage thanks to Abaddon, so I'm not sweating it too much. Anyway, it's just stuff you think about. Because, like, you know, we've got... Kate and I have a difference of opinion to some extent. My my in-laws don't let their kids play video games. And that's going to shock a lot of people, or at least it's going to strike them as interesting. You know, when I was 7, I definitely played a lot of video games. I turned out okay. But did I turn out okay? Like, did the video games have any... play into that whatsoever? I say that with no hint of irony, despite the fact that I'm like playing video games for a living right now. Like, did they help me learn the things I needed to know to succeed? Cognitively, did they help me? I think yes, and I'm being honest, not just trying to play to my base here, you know? I think that there are games that are mindless, like... Well, actually, you know, when I say that they don't let them play video games, they don't have, like, a video game console, but my niece was, like, playing these just god-awful mobile games. And I don't mean god-awful, like, you know, oh, they, you know, it's Candy Crush. I mean god-awful, like, you know, I could, and I say this again without a hint of irony. She was playing this one game I actually could make. Like, it had all the problems with the same things that I prototype in Unity. Like, whenever you restarted the level, the music restarted, and it was the same royalty-free Christmas song over and over and over. And, like, when you pause the game, the music doesn't stop, but then when you restart, it starts again, and the music will play over top of, like, an ad if an ad is playing. It also ran an ad, like, every, I don't know, 15 seconds. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but it was, like, every third time you failed a level, and you could fail a level in, like, 2 seconds, they ran an ad. That's the sort of stuff that has me cognitively getting the heebie-jeebies, you know? But anyway, they don't want their kids to really know, you know, about video games. And I was like, you know, I get it. And actually, you know, I'm not trying to air anything that Dan said in a private conversation, but, you know, when we played Call of Duty, we were talking about, like, how Call of Duty multiplayer is just like a non-stop dopamine hit. Like, you're literally never, ever, ever not doing something, and your brain is always, like, jacked in. And, you know, he's got young kids, and he's looking into, is there any research on, like, you know, should I let my 4-year-old play video games? Probably not Call of Duty, immediately at least, but, you know, should I let my kid play video games? Is there, like, a positive effect? Is there a negative effect? Here's the thing. You might think that I'm, you know, betraying the gamers right now. Not at all. I think there's a lot of games that are extremely good for you mentally. And, you know, as an adult, Zachtronics games. No question about it. You know, I think that's an easy one. But even as a kid, you know, puzzle-solving video games, they can teach you how to think in a way that is applicable to things in real life. Now, when I was a kid, we always used an argument that I think was in bad faith. There was, like, one study that was like, video games improve hand-eye coordination. Yo, I'm here to tell you, we live in the modern world. How often do you need hand-eye coordination, okay? Like, what do you gotta catch a baseball that just finds its way into the wild? Pretty unlikely. You need to drive, yes, but, you know, try giving that argument to your mom, you know? Mom, I need Forza Motorsport 4. 16 years from now, I might be on the highway. Somebody next to me falls asleep at the wheel of their autonomous Tesla. Self-driving algorithm decides I haven't, you know, done enough to fulfill the social contract this year, tries to run me off the road. I need the skills to deal with that. Anyway, I'm just saying, you know, as a... And this has been a recurring theme lately, but I sympathize with parents. Because when you're a parent, you have to, like, live with your principles. You know, when you're an adult, and I think you can forget this. If you've been an adult for a couple of years, you're like, I'm in control of my destiny. And you are. But it also means that your principles, you know, only affect you. Which is fine, you know? I got all this... I mean, I'm not, like, rife with baggage or anything like that, but any kind of, like, insecurity, emotional baggage I have, I'm like, we're old friends by now, you know? I've gotten used to it. It's the natural progress of life. But, you know, you don't want to just give your kid the exact same thing that you had. So will we let our kid play video games? I don't know. Here's the thing. I think so. It would be very weird. I would stop short of saying hypocritical, but it would be very weird not to. But that we're going to watch carefully. I'm way less concerned about, like, my kid playing Fortnite or something like that than I am with them playing, like, a free, like, you know, intellectual property knockoff that just spams them with ads all the time. Look, we'll pay the $1 for the app, okay? I'm also, here's the, I don't want to blow up the whole advertising industry because it's like biting the hand that feeds, of course. Let's get the full exploration bonus. I don't want to go off on a rant here. But you know, we'd be like, you know, my niece is like playing this puzzle game. And then she fails a level. And she gets like an ad for a diamond store. You know, like a jewelry store. And it's like, this Christmas, get them something they'll never forget. And I'm like, I can't tell, you know, is a 7-year-old watching your ad for a product they, like, 100% have no interest in right now? Is that the worst case scenario for, like, a diamond store that I almost said the name of, but will not, just to not ruffle any feathers? Is that the worst case scenario? Because you're like, wasted ad money. Or is it the best case scenario? Because you're like, lifelong customer. She's gonna remember without even knowing it. Subconsciously, she'll be like, I really like De Beers diamonds. I don't know why. I've got positive associations with the brand. And I'm like, well, Christmas Eve 2018, you know, we played that puzzle game together. You were laughing and having a great time. And every 10 seconds, you know, while you were laughing, you'd have a little voice that comes on your iPad and go, De Beers. It wasn't De Beers, by the way. Duh, beers. Anyway, These are the things I think about because, I don't know. I've stopped apologizing for it. I know the counter argument is like, even at Christmas, you can't just have a good time. I was having a great time. There's just, I don't know, my brain is constantly running this background process of like, what's the most sinister possible interpretation of this? You know? But I will say, you know, I don't think it's a cut and dry case. Like, what games did I play growing up? Mario, Mega Man, Street Fighter, Crash Bandicoot, you know, Final Fantasy. Do those games have a positive impact? Yeah, I actually do believe so. I'm not gonna put it up on some emotional poster. Mega Man taught me how to rise to a challenge or something like that. I think we definitely want this, and we could suck up the rest of these. But I think there is something to be said about that, you know. At least in a game, and this is not a, you know, modern generation problem. It's just particularly, I think, in mobile games, especially free ones. A lot of them are, you know, it's like the same way that, like, let me think here. You know how Long John Silver's, like, nobody, it wasn't like one dude was like, I'm really passionate about seafood. I want to open a restaurant. You know, it was, that's a business where somebody was like, hey, I'm coming off of a great fourth quarter in Yum Brands. There's a huge gap in the market for seafood-based cuisine right now that we can meet with our efficient supply chain, you know? Like, it's just exclusively nakedly like a cynical business opportunity that also serves fried fish and hush puppies. That's like what a lot of these mobile games are, is that people are like, I could make a game, and then the design of it is basically like, how can I serve as many ads as possible without frustrating my user base? So, like, at least with something like, you know, Mario, Mega Man, you know, Contra, you lose. And you get used to losing over and over and over. They make it a little harder on you, which I think is important, honestly. And when you lose, you know, you don't have to watch an ad, which I think is it's an association that becomes increasingly frightening as I get older. Because they're like, oh, you suck at the game. Now you're punished by having to watch this Chrysler ad. I think there's some games that, I don't think you throw the baby out with the bathwater. Plus, and this is going to sound perhaps a little misanthropic, but like, I'm sure there's some times where you're like, as a parent, you're like, hey, I got some other stuff on my plate right now. Any chance, can you stop it? Any chance, you know, you just want to play a little Fortnite right now? I will never, you might think I'm cynical, but when it comes to Fortnite, I'm not as cynical as other people. I don't understand. What's the hate? You know? I'm still trying to work that out. Oh, they dance in the game. The Fortnite dances have culturally pervaded. Who cares? You know, we went to the World Juniors game on Sunday. Canada lost. RIP. Just a pre-tournament game. Don't get a big head, Finland. Every kid was doing a Fortnite dance. Yeah, okay, cool. When I was a kid, every kid was doing like the Staying Alive Saturday Night Fever, like, you know, the finger point. Stuff like that, or the Macarena. I don't recall at any point in my life my father being like, all the kids are doing the Macarena. Back in my day, that subversive MTV and Much Music are indoctrinating our kids into doing the Macarena. Who cares? And then in terms of like game design, I'm like, dude, at least, you know, I mean, Fortnite maybe has stolen the dances, okay? Depending on your perspective. If you're 9, that's not part of your worldview. I don't want my kid to support a game that is rife with intellectual property theft. Oh, give me a break. And then, yes, there is a microtransaction store in there. Yo, I maybe have not seen these enemies. This could be part of the post-it note. But at least it's not microtransactions that are like, is the game making you feel bad because it's hard? Well, if you pay us $1, we'll beat the level for you. You know, that's the... Excuse me? This is unusual. That's the stuff that worries me more. I mean, we didn't really you know, glean a whole lot out of that, but that's okay. I'm just trying to figure out, you know, if we're going to get the full exploration bonus or if we're going to go for the Mega Satan fight a little earlier. I think we'll walk our way back to the Mega Satan fight now. But I'll tell you, you know, this is not going to be a great score. Or it's not going to be a great rank. The score might be fine. I wasn't really paying attention to the score issue. Basically for the entire run. And that's okay. You know, we're still going to... As long as we win, I think it's fine. And we might not even win, actually. I think we will, but... It's close to like a 9 out of 10, but it's not quite there. The soul is very helpful. Just try to get in there and knock some shots out of the way. I'm also like, so these kids don't play video games at all, basically, except for the occasional iPad time. And they have no attention span whatsoever. And I'm, well, at least at home, you know, during the holidays, which is probably an unfair sample, but I'm like, dude, why are you worried about your kid's attention span? Look at this 4-year-old. It can't focus for like more than a minute at a time. You know why? Because it's 4. You know, the human brain is not meant to sit down and watch, like, you know, Downton Abbey when it's 4 years old. It's meant to be like, look what I drew. Oh, it's a cupcake. That's cool. Yeah, it's a cupcake. I like cupcakes, but I like ice cream more. Do you like cats? Yeah, I like cats. Kids are ruthless, by the way, as well. They don't realize it, but, like, they haven't learned the delicate ballet of, like, the English language. Like, they wanted a picture of our cats, and then we showed them one, and they were like, is it dead? We're like, no, this... I mean... I guess there's no way for us to know while we're here, but no, it's still alive. And she's like, oh, okay. Alright, well, just out of nowhere and all. You know, that's thanks for bringing that to my attention. It's refreshing, though, in its honesty. You know, like, they have rabbits, and they keep them in this room, and then when... I've never had rabbits in my life, so I don't know if this is fair or not, but... You know, when I say kids are monsters, I don't mean that they're bad people. I just mean they haven't learned the same degree of empathy that most adults have. So, like, there's these rabbits, and they're in, like, a pen. And then they turn the light off and close the door. And I was like, oh, do rabbits like the darkness? And the 7-year-old, she's just like, I don't know, and just walked away. Meanwhile, I'm like, you know, anytime my cat smells something, I'm like, is polyurethane safe for cats to smell? 98. That's fair. But it was an easy daily. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. That was a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed your holiday season. And there you go. I got defeated by Hexagonal Crank. Never going to hear the end of that one. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. See ya!